Good morning and welcome to Tanya Today. Rabbi Fine coming to you from Chabad in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We say good morning, or maybe good afternoon, actually good afternoon, to Anna in Croatia, and Deborah in Kitchener. Good morning. Annie is with us in Costa Rica. Good morning. And Davida and Liba in New York. Good morning. John in North Carolina. Shalom. Marjan Boker Tov in Atlanta. Usher is with us in Memphis. Good morning. Azar in Malaysia. Good evening. Clem. Good night in Brisbane. In Mexico, Jan is with us. Simcha is with us in Florida. Adam in Indonesia. Erev Tov. Shalom to Robert in Boston and Danielle. Aleichem Shalom. David in California, welcome. Actually in Denver today, I see. Not in Gold River. Okay. Erica in Norway, Shalom. Susan is with us in Scranton. June in Australia. Julie in Florida, Irina in Colorado, Boker Tov. Sandy is with us in Michigan, good morning. Boker Tov to Andrea in Phoenix. Diane in London, Ontario, good morning. Jane, good morning. TJ in Australia, good evening. Mexico City, Frank is with us. Eugenia in Calgary. We have Sarah, Alice, Batya and Vilma, Adam, Eliana, David, Ariella, Marcy, Celeste, Benjamin, Ronald, Michelle, Salina, and Mendel, Hatomim, and Ronald. Okay. Where is Jeff? Hold on. Okay. So today, folks, a good yontiv to everybody. Today is a special day. Today is Chai Elul, the 18th day of the month of Elul. This is the day that the Baal Shem Tov in 1698 was born. And this is the day that our teacher, the Alter Rebbe, author of the Tanya, Shulchan Aruch, founder of the Chabad movement, and who's given us life through his teachings, born today in 1745, in the year Kahos. So it's a very special day, a lot to be said about today, not right now, but it's a yontiv. It's a holiday to be celebrated. Shnei Ma'ir Hagedolim, the two great luminaries, the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe, who called him Zaidi, as he only met him one time when he was 3 years old, when he cut his hair at his Abshurnish, and he asked, "Who is he?" to his mother, and his mother said, "Zaidi." So he always considered him his grandfather, Zaidi, spiritual grandfather, and he felt, of course, very connected. And as the Baal Shem Tov knew that on the day that, even before he was born, that a new soul would come into this world. We're reincarnated souls. The Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe, is the Alter Rebbe is a new soul. We are reincarnated souls, but he was a new soul, and Baal Shem Tov knew that a new soul was entering the world, and on Chai Elul he made a Suda. He didn't know exactly who that person was. You know, that it was Rebbetzin Rivka carrying the child, and her husband, Baruch, the mother and father. But he knew, and then finally it was given to him in heaven exactly who that new soul that would be giving light to this world to such a manner that with it we will go to Mashiach. And he made a festive meal and celebrated his his soul coming into this world the day that he was born. And they were like very far from each other in distance. But he knew what's going on above. So, very special day. Today's class is dedicated and sponsored by Jeffrey of Clubhouse, in honor of Chai Elul, in honor of the daily teachings, and also to everybody in Clubhouse that who he hangs out with, learning and growing. Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, so we continue. We continue with the 15th letter, from my own flesh. By knowing me, by knowing myself, I can know God. As God has blown into me a piece of Him, and when I can know that piece of Him that's in me, the powers of my soul, I could have a capability of knowing something about God. How God interacts with creation through His 10 spheres, divine attributes. And by knowing how my 10 powers of the soul interplay with me. Now, tomorrow we're going to start that. Today, the Alter Rebbe says it's necessary to for him to give over what he heard from his teacher, the Maggid, about Abraham, Avram Avinu. That Avram Avinu said about himself, Anechi Ofar ve'efar, I am dust and ashes. Now, we all know that that is a seemingly a sort of poetic way to say that you are humble, that you're nothing, and bringing out the humility, right? That would be the way to simply understand it. But the Alter Rebbe goes deeper, and he says that Abraham, he was illuminated with divine kindness, supreme chesed, and therefore had a magnanimous love, an avaraba as it's called, that illuminated his soul. And his love for God was so great that he becomes a veritable chariot to the divine, which means he's totally driven by the rider, God. Like a chariot is ridden by the rider and has no whim, no will of its own. Is a mere reflection of the divine. That's who Avram is. Right? And specifically, the character quality that he embodies of the divine, again, is avaraba, this magnanimous love, this supreme kindness. Parenthetically, the Alter Rebbe doesn't say it here, but we know about his, his tent being open on all sides, being there for anyone and everyone. So a person might assume that the chesed, the love that he has, right, that is a reflection of the supernal spheres, divine attributes, that there's somewhat of a commonality between his kindness and the divine kindness, except that God's kindness is infinitely so, right? As God is the Ein Sof, limitlessness of God, radiates invested in the attribute. The Ein Sof is one with the attribute. He and his attributes are one. So just as God is infinite, so even though the attribute, has a parameter and has a limitation because it is kindness, not something else, but yet, being it's bound up with the Ein Sof, it has a limitlessness to it, as opposed to the soul of an individual, and even a lofty individual like Abraham, that so his kindness, his love, is limited. But what do we say? there's a similarity. There is some kind, it's the same type, shall we say, right? The same type. So Alter Rebbe says, well, this is why he said he is dust and ashes. In other words, where we're going with this is that, in fact, even though we might call it the same name, kindness and supernal kindness, but yet they're not just difference between, the quantity, but the quality. And it's totally something completely different. Well, completely different might not be the right. Let's get the metaphor. So what does it mean, dust and ashes? Dust and ashes means that if you take a piece of wood and you burn it, so everything is made up of the four elements of fire, air, water, and earth. The basic four elements. When you burn wood, the water, the air, and the fire are all removed. And all you're left with is the ashes, which is the aspect of earth. Once you have ashes, a fire can't, there's no fire left in there because it's all been removed from it, departs it from the ashes. You take a fire to ashes, you got nothing. There's no water left to be removed, and there's no air left. There's just the element of earth, right? So now take that piece of take the ashes that are left, and from the original thing where it came from was let's say a fruit-bearing tree, for example, right? That's where the wood comes from. A fruit-bearing tree. Now, even though in essence the ashes that come from this tree are the essence of the tree, but yet they're incomparable one to the other. Ashes is ashes. A fruit-bearing tree is, pleasant to the eye, good taste to the mouth, and therefore they're totally incomparable. So the Alter Rebbe says, well, when he said I'm dust and ashes, not only is it a phrase of humility, but it's a phrase of actuality, and that is that his quality of chesed, comparable to God, is dust and ashes. So even though we call it the same name, kindness, divine, supernal kindness, and human kindness, however, there's no real semblance or proportion between them, as it is by God versus as it is in the person. Just as there's really no proportion or semblance of between the ashes and the fruit-bearing tree. It's incomparable. Well, so then why do we speak this way? Because we have no other way to talk but in human phraseology and by way of allegory and metaphor, right? So the point that the Alter Rebbe is bringing out over here is that we're going to try to understand ourselves, and from understanding the powers in our soul, that will give us some insight into God and His attributes. So the Alter Rebbe says, we've got to be careful. Don't think that we're really going to get it. We might get ourselves. But then to apply that to God, yes, we're using the same phraseology because, we have nothing else to use. And since we do want to understand, this is the way we need to apply the teachings to terms, ideas that are part of the human condition. We can't apply something that's in God's condition when it's not in our condition. So that's all we're left with. And therefore, yes, there is essentially, in essence, the ashes are that of the tree, but it is incomparable. So, like in essence, the kindness that we will speak about in our soul, or the compassion, or netzach, whatever we're going to speak about, is in essence, that of the divine part where it comes from. But really, it's incomparable and it's beyond. But we need to use our terminology. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's understand this. So, I think an important point that I'd like to bring out over here is about the concept of humility. Humility is usually the thought of humility is that, I've accomplished something great, but I need to be still humble. I've achieved, I am something, something great, but yet, don't let it get to your head. And it's, not nice. And, don't get, you might get carried away with it. And by getting carried away with it, you're going to falter, right? Last week's story portion about the mica of the guardrail on top of the roof that you need to provide in order that you shouldn't fall. That was the humility that we need to have in order that we shouldn't, when we're on top of the world, we shouldn't get carried away with ourselves. That's how most people look at humility. But the Alter Rebbe is giving us a much more profound idea in what humility is. When Abraham said, I'm dust and ashes, so again, a simple understanding of that is that, he didn't get carried away with himself. But what the Alter Rebbe explains here is much more profound. He is, in other words, I have a feeling of pride, so now I have to have a feeling of humility to counter that pride. Right? Shouldn't get carried away with myself. So it's a feeling, right? And that feeling is probably not real, because I still have that feeling of, of being proud of myself and my achievement, or by way of example, right? The Alter Rebbe is saying here about Abraham, that he says kindness. Yeah, I have kindness. But he didn't compare his kindness to, his next door neighbor. Him, compared to him, oh, am I ever a saint, That's what we like to do. It makes us feel good because it's all in the realm of feeling. He compared his kindness to God, the source of his kindness. But he was reflecting his kindness that is a part of, that he blew in him, that's a part of his soul. Yet he saw a reality to it. And what was that reality? It's dust and ashes compared to God's. My kindness is nothing. So you didn't get carried away. Oh, wow, look how great I am. Yeah, compared to his people around him, he's great, but he didn't compare himself to that. Because, first of all, what's the great accomplishment to compare yourself to people who are lesser than you? That they've accomplished less. Like, what have you done exactly? Just so you could, feel good. That's really what it comes down to. That's, the animal side of me that's talking. The godly side of me will compare myself to God. And well, compared to God, the reality is his kindness is like dust and ashes. Yes, it's of the same essential thing, like as the ashes are the same essential tree that got burnt and now is only left ashes to it. But it's incomparable, totally incomparable. And that's how he viewed him, his kindness. So it was real. It wasn't just a feeling. It was a reality in making that comparison, shall we say, to God's. that's a very powerful idea. So I know, in other words, when we have people at our home, my wife and I, and people, oh, you're so kind, and I tell them, well, I don't know if it's kindness that is motivating me for this, or that I, truly feel that a fellow Jew is family, literally, not figuratively, and therefore, are you being kind to your family that, you serve them, at your Shabbos table? That you have them at your Shabbos table? Is that a feeling of kindness, or you have a bond and a connection, and like, hey, of course. So this is, in other words, instead of like the feeling of kindness is what's motivating me, right? A feeling. So you have a feeling of haughtiness, and now you need to have humility to counter it. So you need to bring in another feeling. So it's not about a feeling, it's about a reality. So the reality of Avram's kindness is incomparable to God's. Dust and ashes. My kindness, well, I don't know if it's kindness or it's just a reality of, feeling connected, and therefore, hey, you want to have family over. A very different notion. So I think that's an amazing thing over here. Now, vis-a-vis the teachings over here, that this idea is that, as much as we're going to know ourselves, we have to recognize that there's a limit to what we will know about God, but we will know nonetheless, and it'll be in our terminology, in our understanding, in our mind, which is, hey, that's what it is. That's okay. That's wonderful. But so authenticity, that's a word that's, used rampantly today. So I suggest that there's a mistaken notion about what authenticity is. Authenticity does not mean what I feel is authentic. No, it's not. It's not authentic. So right now I'm feeling haughty because I achieved something remarkable. And now I think to myself, well, I shouldn't feel that way. So I'm going to bring in another feeling of humility to counter that. Neither one's authentic. Not the haughtiness. Maybe it's authentic. It's authentic, the animal soul, but it's not the authentic me. That's me? I'm the sum total of my animal instinct and human condition? No. Authentic means that which is a reality, that which is a reality. So reality is that Jews are family. Reality is that Avram's kindness relative to God's is incomparable. Reality is that I'm a Jew. Not because I feel like I'm, I really feel Jewish today, I really feel authentically Jewish today, because I really did an extra mitzvah today, so I really feel authentically Jewish. No, not because you feel. That's what the world's going. Oh, today, I'm sorry to bring this up, but, today I feel another gender, so I got to be my authentic self. No, that's not authentic, because that's what you feel. What are you? What do you mean? I'm feeling Jewish, so therefore I'm Jewish? Even though my mother's not Jewish, or I didn't convert according to Jewish law, according to halacha? But that's my authentic feeling. Oh, well, it may be your authentic feeling, but that doesn't make things authentic. Doesn't make anything authentic just because you feel it. It's authentically your feeling, but it doesn't make it you authentic. The feeling might be, and maybe not even authentic. Think about it for a moment. Think about it for a moment. Authentic means it's real. Well, real means it lasts. So my Jewishness is going to last because it's really authentic, because I got a Jewish soul, right? That's authentic. When I do a mitzvah, even when I may not be totally into it, that's authentic, because a mitzvah is a reflection of me. It is of me. It is my reality. It's my neshama. And even if I don't feel it, it's the true me. You know, like give me just one quick moment. Whatever works for you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay? Okay, sorry. So, yeah, authenticity. Authenticity. I really suggest that the world has got it. Gotta come learn some Tanya and see what's authentic. Abraham's authentic. I'm dust and ashes. All right. I think we can have a great conversation on this. I want to hear from people. This one on authenticity. Okay, so before I'm going to go to Facebook and 2 question marks before a question. A lot to bring on this. Excuse me. Michael, so the best expression of humility is to see one's self as capable of reflecting God's kindness, the highest, rather than others in the world. Yeah, humility is, that you're reflecting God's greatness, His kindness, His qualities, and relative to Him, where exactly. Davida, if we feel more kindness to certain people than others, are we still authentic? That's a good question. I don't know. Gotta think about that a bit. Do we? Are we authentic then? Yes and no. It depends. What authentic kindness is? What's authentic kindness in human terms? Okay, we have it we get it from whatchamacallit, from Abraham, from Abraham, how he compares himself to God. Okay, he's a righteous person. What's authentic for me and you? So, you know what authentic kindness is? Authentic kindness is not about me feeling good about my kindness. That's not authentic. Authentic kindness is that authentically you feel connected to the person and you're doing something for their sake. You're doing it for them, for their need, not for your need, not for your feel-good need, not for your, that's not authentic. Authentic kindness means kindness is for the person that you're giving the kindness, that you're bestowing the kindness upon. So it means it needs to be something that is for them, something that they'll appreciate, something that they will have from it. It's like, I'll give you a great example what's not authentic. I'm a grandfather, so I could tell you this. When I hug a grandchild, because I'm full of feeling, some fuzzy love at this moment, and I want to share that love or embrace the grandchild, right? But the grandchild doesn't want it that moment. but I won. I want to hug the grandchild, right? So that's not authentic. That's not authentic love. That's self-love. That's, you're doing a kindness for you. Authentic would be, you know, feeling that and giving it to the child when they need it or when they want it or in need of it, right? That would be authentic. That's not easy, by the way. That's a challenge. You got to work on that. It doesn't come so simply. So, Alice, how authentic do we need to be? As authentic as we can. There is, as everything in Hasidus, there's the truth, and we are approximation of that, and we're trying to become more truthful, more real, more authentic, and we work towards that bar. So it's not about getting and being getting to the bar. No, that's not what it is. It's about working in that direction. That's what's important. Okay, 1 second. Michelle, just give me a moment. Haley, how does one discourage Lashon Hara, which tries to change perceptions of reality and authenticity? How does one avoid getting mad because these speakers are authentic to their need to gossip, but not to the truth? Well, that's not authentic. I mean, it's authentic to the animal soul, but that's not truly authentic. Truly authentic is, again, not those feelings. So we got to be ourselves. We've got to be real ourselves. And if we're real ourselves, hopefully we'll have an impact on others. It's not about controlling others or getting others to do, what we think that they should do, unless we're their parent, unless we're their teacher. But otherwise, no. Michelle, please share with us.
Hello, Rabbi. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so as you just said, say I feel I've achieved a lot in my life, but I need to stay humble. How do we balance our humility with the knowledge that we are powerful beyond measure, which we are? I feel I can do anything. How can I stay humble without dimming my light?
Excellent
I need to shine bright because that allows me to achieve even more, not for my own needs, but, to serve others in tzedakah, chesed, mitzvot. So what's the balance?
Excellent question. Excellent, thank you. So let's take a lesson from Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, who is as the Torah states, God says in the Torah, he's the most humble person on the face of the earth. How could he be so humble when he knows that he's talking to God, that he is unique in his achievements, that, he's reached the pinnacle of what any human being could achieve, and yet he's humble? What does that mean? So he said, don't get carried away. You're not so great. What do you mean? He is great. He is great. In every aspect, in every measure, he is great. But what kept him humble was very simple. He knew that the greatness was not something he achieved. God gave him a great soul. God gave him a great capacity. God gave him great abilities. And he truly felt that if someone else had the capacities that were given to him, they would achieve even more than what he achieved. So the fact that he achieved, well, that's what he was created for. God gave him the capacity. He didn't create himself. We're not our own energizing bunny that we just, I turned the switch on me and, I made me. I didn't make myself. And God gave me whatever I have and whatever I don't have. So the greatness that I have is something from him. So then, hey, what's to get so excited about? What's to get so haughty about and to feel so proud? First of all, that's what I was created for, to accomplish this. So, what's there to be proud about? Just achieve what you were created for. And secondly is the fact that I achieved it is because God gave me the capacity that I could achieve it. He gave me that power. He gave me that strength. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was able to look at others and see who achieved far, far less than he achieved, and yet be humbled by them. As a matter of fact, the Medrash says he looks at me and you and our generation, and we're very distant and very, um, very incapable or compared to him and in his generation and their perception of God and connection. And he's humbled particularly to us because he sees that we live in such dark times and such difficulties and exile and yet the little thing that we achieve and we do is amazing. And that's the way we should look at others. We should look at others that, even though their achievement might be so small compared to the achievements that you have done. Yeah, but okay. Well, first of all, that's what God needs me and created me to do. So, where's the kudos? I did what I was supposed to do. Okay. Now you might say, well, I went above and beyond. Well, maybe, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe you could have achieved a lot more. Maybe you didn't really work so hard and it just came naturally to you and you didn't really, put your all into it. That's the way to look at ourselves in a very humble and healthy way. Does that help, Michelle? Does that resonate?
I love that, Rabbi. Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing that up because that was important to get to get that clarity. Yeah. Alice, does authenticity more important than giving kindness than tzedakah? That's a good question. So you know what? So you heard it here, perhaps first. God loves a hypocrite. He loves a hypocrite who, doesn't feel so kind, isn't really into it, but yet is kind. Isn't so, interested to give so much tzedakah, not so, driven to give so much tzedakah, but yet give so much tzedakah. In other words, you're not really being so authentic. You're kind of being hypocritical. You're not really feeling it, yet you do it. You don't really feel like praying right now. You're really feeling like, I'd rather gossip. Rather, just schmooze with my friends in shul. I'd rather do that. And what do? You daven and you focus. And, I really. So you're not so authentic. You might be even hypocritical. This is really what I wanted to do, and I didn't do it. All right, do what you feel. Go for it. No, we don't. That's not our motto. Whatever you feel, go for. No. Be a hypocrite. Go against what you feel, what your animal soul is telling you, right? And you go against it. God loves such a hypocrite. That we're not truly authentic. We're not truly authentic. Truly authentic is it you're. I feel that you're family, and therefore here's money. Just here's a loan so you can get by. Here's come over and have something to eat and hang out and da 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 da. We don't always feel that. The truth is, even that hypocrite is ultimately authentic, because the fact that we overcome our negative side, or the human condition, the animal soul, and we do that which God wants. So that's pretty authentic. True authenticity is that that reality is something that you're attuned to, and it's real for you, not just something that you have to force yourself. That's the ultimate. Usher, do we not need this situational awareness, the reality of the worlds above and the world we exist in, to be able to discern what is being said from within ourselves and outside of ourselves when others are speaking before us? I mean, do we need to know what part of me is talking? What part of me is my reality, my authenticity? Yeah, we need to be aware of that. Of we need to be aware of, you know, who's on first, what's on second. You know, who's talking to me right now? What part of me is saying that? Absolutely, we need to have that. Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Any thoughts?
Rabbi,
Yes.
I'm still thinking about the answer you gave me, and I absolutely love it. The greatness that I have is from God. And it reminded me of something. You know, Michelangelo said when he made his statues, he would go and get a huge piece of marble. And how he imagined it is that God created the statue already, and it was his job to just get rid of the excess marble.
Right. Very good.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
Yes. So that ties in with this idea that the true me is what's deeper inside rather than the excess on the outside. Exactly.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you for sharing that. That's yeah. So, in other words, the world is saying what's authentic is what I feel. So I feel this gender, so I must be this gender. I feel this is, what's important to me, so that must be authentic. It must be real because that's what I'm feeling. That's, and here we're saying, no, 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 no. That's all the external, that's all the stuff that you have to get rid of, and you have to come to that which is deep down in us, what's truly authentic. So, what's truly authentic is that we want to be kind, that truly authentic, we want to be giving, truly authentic, we want to be connected to Hashem, truly authentic, we wanted to do good for others and for what they need rather than what makes me feel good. That's truly authentic. Yeah. All right, folks. Amazing. Amazing. A reminder, Rambam today, 12:45, learning the laws of marriage. Very intriguing stuff. You come and join us. Okay. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Tzirchen Kedeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have a wonderful day and a good yontif to everybody. Chai Elul. It's Chai Elul. Be well.